off, I want you to explain to me your idea of that process of cutting off.
It's going to do two things. One, it's going to establish a baseline number of what the, after it's deemed and after you exhaust all your efforts to try to collect all the money and whatever efforts are needed to pay back the town is what I mean by cutoff. You know, so November 30th, December 31st seem like the logical thing. You know, you're going to be able to establish that line in the sand. And the next thing you're going to do is whatever that cutoff date is, I would vote as a Board of Selectmen if it's November 30th, I would go back and pass a new 7-month budget for rescue, or if it's December 31st, a new 6-month budget for rescue, based on that cutoff time, you know, and based on the financial condition of rescue. Those are the two things it's going to do for you.
All right, I don't really understand the setting a new budget for them when there's no money.
You got a budget right now, you know, that you guys have passed. If you guys have put some spending freeze or whatever it is, and I don't know if you've defined essential, but I heard some of these things coming out of your guys' mouth on Thursday night. What I'm saying is, in light of the rescue department owing the town this money, in light of the fact that this rescue department may not be able to continue going forward without tax dollars, what I would do is I would go back to the drawing board. I would put some kind of a budget in place for 6 months based on the financial condition, based on maybe what the rescue department owes you. You can work that back into the budget too. And instead of having a supply expense category, you've got a reimbursement to the town of Lebanon for what we owe you category. That's what I think that it does for you, so that on July 1st of 2014, whatever the voters decide to do, you know, it gives you the best opportunity to minimize the impact and the cost of the town of Lebanon.
Okay, I understand that.
You've got about 6 months or 7 months to do that.
So in the meantime, the money that is currently owed, the arrears amount, the huge amount, we're gonna what's happening with that? You know, we're gonna look at.
So that number's the line you're gonna draw in the sand. So whatever that number is today, or whatever that number is on your cutoff day, you know, what I would do is say, okay, we're going to start now going forward. We're basically, we know that the town's subsidizing rescue. And we want everybody to know that. But what we want to do is two things. One, we want to let them know what the town has subsidized rescue department so far as of whatever that cutoff date is. And you're going to exhaust all efforts. And what I also heard, and I think it's a great idea, is tomorrow I would take whatever is owed to rescue and shop it to some kind of a credit service to go collect that money. The first thing that I would do. So you know what that number is. The way I understood Jason and Samantha, there's still billings that need to be submitted. Okay, well let's submit all of the billings to plan through November 30th. Because the way I understood it is, at least through November 30th, and maybe not, because I thought they said that they had a couple of weeks of billing. Give them a cutoff time to say, hey listen, we're committed to Comstat through whatever day you all decide you're committed, and whatever is owed, whatever that number is that they've given you, you know, draw that line in the sand. You're going to be working on two numbers, that number, and then new billings going forward that you're going to have possibly with a new rescue department. That's why it's important, I feel, to pick a new cutoff date so that you can literally say, here's the old, here's the new, here's what we're going to do. And we know when we passed that rescue budget, you know, that we didn't expect rescue department to owe us tax. Well, now you know that. So to me, it's not feasible that you can spend at the level, you know, that you're spending on that until you get a lot of questions answered.
Well, and that's part of the process there. The board is not ready to end the relationship with Comstar. We're not so sure. We're not so sure that's the issue.
Yeah, so and even if you're not ready to end the relationship with Comstar, regardless, you still need to have some kind of a logical, to me, in my opinion, cut off in the stand to say, Comstar, as of this point in time, here's what needs to be collected, and here's what's owed to the town. And I think whatever that day you pick is your cutoff day, Comstar going forward, here's exactly what we want to have happen as a board for the town of Lebanon, you know, going forward. And whether or not it's Comstar you choose to do business or whoever the person's going to be, no matter what, you want to set those parameters going forward. And the last thing that I would want to do if I were you, or if I was the person going to be the billing, is if I'm a new billing service to take what you're going to give me and say, okay, you're owed 200,000. Wow, man, 100,000, is deemed, whatever it is, it's deemed, uncollectible or not followed up or whatever that category was the first category. I'm reluctant if I'm the new billing service to go just inherit, this new billing list that you're going to give me that has a shelf life, has whatever that cutoff date you pick. So to me, it doesn't matter who the agency is going to be. Comstar has your agency right now. Common sense says keep the bills going, whatever you got for bills. I can't believe it would be a hard task to go get a new billing service. You keep the same provider number. There may be some new paperwork to be filled out, but there's some things I didn't understand coming out of Sam and Jason's mouth the other day about swapping, even if that's the route you go to swapping services. But either way, I think you're committed, because for a variety of reasons. One, whether or not you tax spending or not, you're still using Lebanon's money right now because they're so far behind the rescue department in their billing. It goes back to June. Whatever choice that you take, it's going to involve using Lebanon's money. So to me, the path of least resistance is maintaining some type of relationship with Comstar, that says, hey, we want you to continue to do our billing until further notice.
Well, I'm going to tell you something I didn't understand the other night. I'd like to understand why the auditors didn't know that we have the subscription thing going on.
What do you mean the subscription thing?
Well, Bill Hall didn't seem to be aware that the subscription monies are going directly to the corporation.
So a couple of things. Lebanon's got a billing service. I understand it. Bill sent me an email, and I don't know what prompted it. I can't even read my emails here now. But I know Bill sent me an email about subscription service, as far as the money going into the other corporation. We don't even audit that other corporation. We have no idea what they're getting.
Well, here's the problem.
We've never been shown their books, for goodness sake.
Here's the
problem. To know what the logic would be behind it.
If I could interrupt, the problem with that is we have a ballot question that clearly states prior to my tenure as a selectman that the subscription monies are to be used to pay for the ambulance, and the voters approved that. Those monies are supposed to be coming in here, not going to the corporation.
I completely agree with the logic of subscriptions going into the town of Lebanon to pay for, the operations of rescue. The big issue is I have no idea what this rescue corporation that I keep understanding is a separate 501c3 from the town, that these subscriptions. I have no idea if it's paying for certain expenses for the operations of rescue. But I completely agree with you that subscription services, if it's being billed on and for behalf of the town of Lebanon, should be coming to the town of Lebanon. I just am not smart enough to tell you why they're going into this corporation, because I've never seen anything for this corporation. I've seen anything where it says subscription service revenue ought to, blah, 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 whatever the language is.
A board in 2009, prior to Ben and myself, had voted or whatnot, it's in meeting minutes, that they had approved the subscription monies to go to the Rescue Corporation. In 2010, there was a ballot question, and I believe, correct me, Ben, if I'm wrong, was Jason a selectman then? I believe he was.
Yeah. Yes,
he was on the board. So he was on the board when that question was written, and it says it's a legal vote. It's a referendum question.
I would just want to see that referendum question, Karen, just for the sake of not remembering what it was. But I remember talking to Judy, and I actually saw her there, last Thursday night. She would definitely have a lot of institutional knowledge, about subscriptions, because I know she was on the board and coming off the board when all this stuff certainly, was...
She was part of the board that okayed it in 2009.
Yeah.
But again, in 2010, that was overridden by the voters. They had this question for that new ambulance, and the funding for it was supposed to come from subscription money. So that's 2010, 11, 12, and now 13. Where are those subscription money funds that should be coming to this town?
listen, for the sake of argument, you just need to send me a copy, you know, of whatever that referendum question was that you had, so I can understand what it is that it says.
All right, we'll do it. All right, well, Ben, do you have anything? That's all I had for questions.
I got nothing.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, take care.
Bye.
That was informative.
It just goes right there where that phone is.
Okay.
Okay, so the gist of that is what MMA said anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Draw the line in the sand,
Yep.
and you're gonna shove that off to the side, and the taxpayers are gonna eat it at the end of the year. We're gonna start a new budget for a 6-month period. And so we're gonna start, you know, we gotta start this train going again.
Eating it.
You're gonna eat it.
We're gonna
You've
eat
already
we're gonna eat a lot of it, but I mean,
You've already
there's
eaten it.
ways that we can
You'll recoup some. Possibly, you'll recoup some, no doubt, but you know what? You're not gonna dig yourself out of that deep a hole.
No, I
And
know.
what the thing is, to close the books at the end of fiscal year, this has to come back on the ballot to say, hey, we didn't recoup this much, this is what we still owe, and we need to close that book out and wipe it clean.
Mhm.
And the taxpayers are gonna do that.
Vote that has to be held on that because.
What's that?
Yes.
And it has to be brought to
It
a
has to be
vote.
brought for, on referendum.
Doesn't
Because
matter,
I
it's
know
already
on the
paid.
Yeah, well, we
It's
did.
just like the over budget on the road,
Right.
budget.
We had.
It's already paid, you gotta pay it one way or another.
But it's still, yeah, we voted special.
Not vote to pay that over budget on the road, do you remember that?
Right.
You voted no.
But we still did.
Technically, it's probably still out there.
It's not Comstar that put them in this problem. It's management. My 2 cents.
And according to Rescue's page, they've already changed from Comstar.
Yeah, well, they can't, I don't believe they can do that without
do that.
board approval.
Okay.
There's a lot of things for a rescue page.
That was 2010, right?
Yep. There was a citizen's petition by, what was it, 289 people and Jason Cole. His name's listed on the referendum question. Yes?
What point did the town take money from rescue to pay town bills to keep the taxes down?
And going out to keep the taxes down?
That's what was on Mr. Cole's rant today.
Oh, I don't read Mr. Cole's rant.
But the town's been paying a
Well-
portion since 2010.
Since
hasn't
they
it?
started going, well,
Well, as far
that
as
number,
enterprise
that line's
goes.
not exactly, yeah, but at least 12. Which is why then, you know, the MMA opinion went out. It's actually, you know what, let's not give the, I'm gonna be honest, and I know that camera's going, that a lot of credit needs to go to our treasurer. She's done a lot of hard work.
Absolutely,
Okay?
absolutely.
And I want the people to know that. She's done a lot of hard work. And she's the one that came to this board. It wasn't 6 weeks ago a letter from Comstar that prompted this. She came to this board and said, do you realize you are borrowing from taxpayer base to pay these bills? No. No, I didn't know for sure, you know what I mean? So that's where this started.
Well, I mean, I can
commend
be honest, I can say that even when I was on budget committee prior to being a selectman, I've never felt that they were sustaining. Their revenue has never sustained their spending. I had no idea it was to this extent. The first year, you know, even bringing in $88,000, which they did carry over at the beginning of the enterprise account, they still ended that year in a negative 10.
Yeah.
So right out of the gate.
May I ask a question? Who's allowed to talk to, was it Comstar? Whatever.
As of right now, just the chief.
We will be contacting them.
Because
We'll
I
change
would think that once you're able to have a conversation with them, then that might help you make these decisions that have to be made right now.
We have
I know
talked
that
with
you can't just,
other towns that do use Comstar currently and are very happy.
Yep.
And there is a lot of services available through Comstar that are not being utilized. You know, there are cheaper services out there that might charge 6%. Comstar currently, I believe, charges 8%, but they offer a whole lot more than the other services out there.
then it might be sensible to keep them.
Well, or why were we never
Oh,
going
that's
to
a-
collections anyway?
I
You
know.
That,
You
I
have a
know.
letter right now of disposition that is $97,000 roughly that was discussed the other night, okay? Where did this come from? 6 weeks ago. This is not 6 weeks ago. This is, since 2008, these have been building up, okay? Disposition letters, I have found out, come out on a monthly basis from Comstar. This is the first one we've heard
gross
about.
incompetence.
This is the first one we've heard about. Okay, so these have been building up, not being taken care of, building up, you know, it's one of those things.
Even the billing being behind, 3-4 months consistently is not acceptable.
Now, we
Yeah.
realize that you have to take correct steps for doing something about mismanagement. You can't just, do what you may choose to want to do. There's legalities to everything. But would it be possible to, God forbid I say this, pay them, but don't let them touch the stuff? Would that be possible?
I'm not gonna discuss anything personnel related.
Oh, okay. But that's a thought that I had. I know we'd have to pay them, and I know the legal thing, but.
if you remember right, back in April of 2012, we went through this. The auditor come in and.
I had the auditor come in, yes, I remember it.
You did it, and there's the sheet that was passed to us that day, of how much money was available. Shows that $88,000 rollover.
Ben, can you just verify that this is it? This doesn't look like it's it to me. Maybe that is it. There's a second one on the second page. Yeah, it didn't seem to be the one that looked like you sent to Brad.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the same one.
Yeah. So, can you pull out the, I'll get it. It says 2010 on that though.
I think this, okay, this is, yeah, why is that different? It is different.
I don't know, but that's a problem.
Same wording, it's just not, got all of the information that I'm looking for.
Do you have your copy? Because I gave mine to Brad.
I can get a copy for you, I know where it is. I don't have it here.
Because this is seeming to be different from what I recollect. So I will wait on that. So are you prepared tonight to set that date? I have a date in my mind.
Not until we discuss with them on Thursday.
All right, well, I was thinking we would just tell them on Thursday.
I'm not ready to vote tonight, told you that.
Okay.
May I ask who them is? Who's them?
What's that?
Not till you meet with them, who's them?
Rescue.
Oh, okay. I just,
Yeah, we have to send them the email and the time and whatnot. We met with them Thursday at the school. They know there's gonna be a meeting, on Thursday, this Thursday. We just have to, send them, the time and whatnot. And then I have a list of things.
There's a lot more help Comstar can be in this process right now where we stand, so that's why I'm not gonna move forward with anything right now until we get access into there
No,
and see what they can do.
that's fine. No, that's okay. I mean, what is a couple days, at this point? So Thursday's fine, and we will email them and also, include corporation members,
For a separate meeting, yeah.
for that same night.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, I guess that's it on that. We're in the middle of the accounts payable, so we'll keep going with that then. And I will email them and we'll decide what time that's gonna be. That will be a public notice. We'll put that out.
We have a meeting tomorrow too.
You guys gonna show up?
We have an
You're
evening.
Popcorn.
I'm just sitting here thinking right now, well, if you guys aren't gonna show up tomorrow, then
Well, we don't have an agenda right now.
So question answer time now, since this is probably, I don't know, you know,
Thursday?
We'd like to have a question answer time.
that's what I mean. Yeah. Or we wanna, you know, do it tomorrow night, or you're here now, so, I mean,
No.
we could cancel tomorrow if
Same
nobody
deal.
else is, it's nothing on the agenda.
I just feel bad about canceling tomorrow, and some
Don't know who's gonna show.
I would rather not cancel tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Because people are expecting us to be there because we postponed last Tuesday.
Well, and I know there are a
Purposely.
couple that aren't here right now that I know will be here.
Right.
Why don't we do both?
Yeah.
Why don't we give just a short period for question answer
Yeah,
now? I mean,
sure, do you have questions, people? Yeah.
Why can't you shut rescue down and hire an outside source till this mess is cleared up?
Hear you. Considered already. There's a lot to
I
it.
mean, if someone's
There's a lot of
looking
that.
for it, now have this American service that seems to be working out quite well. I can tell you one little incident that bothers me. This summer, I see an ambulance, one of Lebanon's go out. A couple minutes later, the other one went out. And a few minutes later, Frisbee went out. And I said, must be a hell of an accident up the road. I go up the road, both ambulances of Lebanon are sitting there with nobody to tend to them. And Frisbee's working on the person that got hurt. Now, what kind of ambulance service is that? And that happens more than you probably do know.
I think one thing that the public tends to forget is that they voted this in as an enterprise. It's not something Ben and I can just undo.
You know?
It has to be undone by warrant article.
I'll also speak to the phone conversation we just had. This is not, it is an enterprise fund account. It is not a regular department budget. There's two separate things. An enterprise fund account is more of a goal. Okay, this is what we plan on spending this year because this is what we plan on bringing in this year, and they work off each other. This is not tax appropriated money that I just fill your pocket and you reach in and pull out and go spend.
Well, if you
Okay.
don't have the authority
They are two
to-
separate entities, two different things. No, that's all right.
If you don't have the authority to shut the ambulance down, which is fine, how do you have the authority to just keep taking money from someplace and keep them going?
I don't know that we don't have the authority to shut it down.
No, that isn't what I was saying. It would, the changing of the department, you know, the way it is, would have to go to the voters. Not saying that we can't
As far as funding.
shut it down.
As far as funding.
Yeah.
If it was to go back to as a regular department.
Basically to rescind the enterprise.
Correct.
Yes,
I
correct.
honestly have no problem with the enterprise account.
If it is run properly.
Correct.
Right,
But
they've
it's been
never
proven
brought,
right here
they've never
that-
brought in what they've spent, is the issue.
Right,
Honestly,
the
it's simple.
wording of the enterprise account was your problem from the get-go, that they can expend everything that they bring in. Okay, so if I tell you, you're not gonna get 30%, industry standards, 30% of what you bill, you're not gonna get,
Correct.
okay? You do not spend everything that you
Okay.
bill out.
Well, it's been proven, right here in black and white, that they have overspent. They hadn't even stayed within their means.
That enterprise account was jammed down our throat 3 years ago. Someone wrote it all by himself and this, that, and the other thing. And it was just, there was a packet, I believe, this thick of what was going on. You know, the chief was gonna be the chief forever. That was thrown in there, nobody knew about it. And there was all sorts of other things in there. And all his little people that he has out there that love the rescue department to death, they're the ones that voted it in.
Yeah,
Let me interrupt though, because that is a rumor that was out there when I first came in, chief forever, chief forever.
Yeah,
That is
let's
not what
get
the
to
law
that.
says, it actually says for an indefinite amount of time.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, but indefinite amount of time means there is no ending date, doesn't mean there can't be one,
Right.
okay?
That's what I
Doesn't mean
What-
forever,
what-
Yeah.
What is the definition of indefinite?
whenever the time comes.
I'll say one thing, I gotta go, I got a planning board meeting. But,
7 o'clock.
why are we paying the rescue chief 15,000 or whatever it is, plus whatever else she gets, when obviously Jason Cole was running it?
And it's a volunteer department, which means you're volunteer.
Well,
No.
both of the chiefs get
No.
a monthly stipend.
That's a misnomer anyway too, that it's a volunteer, it is not volunteer, legally it's an on-call, okay, cause you do receive stipend. And so there's different rules, there's different regulations out there between, our fire department in this town started out truly as a volunteer, originally.
Yeah.
And it's not now, it's an on-call department as well. And so there are differences that changes need to be coming, you know, and so that's kind of what I'm gonna say to you guys, and I know the camera's rolling as well. I know this is Lebanon and nobody wants rules and regulations, but without your rules and regulations, a standard to be held to, you cannot break that rule, and there's no punishment for breaking the rule that's not there. So the structure of this town needs to change. One of the reasons why I ran, Roby knows. I mean, we ran against, Betty knows. That's one of my things that I had said on the, you know, back at the time. And there needs to be some structure to the town. There needs to be some
Guidelines.
guidelines. That's all it is guidelines. And then you need to have some
But what bothers me.
discipline as far or whatever. That's if you break the rule.
Just
Yeah.
like I stated, it is a.
Thank you, Dick.
Dick,
Bye, Dick.
Bye, Dick.
Oh, he gotta go home to supper. But anyway, enterprise account, I agree with you. If it's managed properly, it could be a good thing. But what really is stickler here, it's been proven that it hasn't been managed correctly.
Mhm.
So what's to say down the street, if we don't rescind it and continue to keep going, this board leaves and the treasurer leaves or
Roby,
whatever,
we're
and we lose.
not saying that that's
Yeah,
not gonna
you
be on the
That's what
ballot. You
That's
know,
what
I
I'm
just-
saying.
Everything is being considered. If you think that this board is
No,
not
no, I'm
considering
not
rescinding
pointing
that
the
on the
finger at
ballot.
nobody, I'm just saying.
If I could finish, if you think that this board is not considering rescinding that on the ballot next year, then
No,
you're,
I
you're
never said
mistaken.
I never said that.
I personally am not gonna speak for Ben. I feel it needs to go back the way it was under a town department in a controlled situation.
Have you considered, and I know you're considering everything, but I just wanted to get changing accountants, the auditors?
Something I
Can
want
you
to talk about.
answer my
Everything's
question?
being considered.
Everything is, okay. I mean, I just find it hard to believe that everyone seems to be blaming everybody else, and you guys are left holding the bag, and so many, you know, and I know you guys are doing as best that you can in a rotten situation. So it looks like it wasn't just one thing that happened to make this fall apart.
What I got out of that meeting the other night, Thursday night, the arrow kept being thrown for Rich Comstar, throwing him under the bus.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I got.
That's the impression I
But
got.
where was the auditor? Like 3 years in a row, he come to the budget meeting.
Yep.
I had a ton of questions. He never wrote one of them down, he was gonna get back to us, he never got back to one. One of them was a referendum question about that last ambulance. The town voted on the referendums for so many payments, and then the lease agreement was one payment more, plus the stretcher that we never even voted on as a town. I asked him about that, how was that a legal thing? Then, the subscription money, even the other night, I stood right there when he asked Sam about the subscription money, and she stood right there and lied to him about it, that covers your ride. And at the budget meeting last year, I told her, I brought that question up to her about the subscription money. She said that's like a donation, that don't cover the ride. They're going after your insurance company, and if you don't pay, then you're gonna be, whatever they call it,
Held responsible.
yeah, you're held responsible. So she sat right there in front of me telling Bill this story, and I told Bill afterwards, that's nothing but a lie, it's a scam. And Bill didn't even know nothing about it, and he's the accountant.
What she said at the budget committee, cause I kept saying this to Betty, is that exactly what she said was, if you belong to the subscription, they do bill your insurance company, so like, I'm on Medicare, they would bill Medicare, and they would get the 80%, and then the 20% would, well, then she did say, oh, it would go to Comstar, and Comstar would bill you, but it wouldn't go to collections. It would
They
just
don't
be
check
written
that
it off.
box.
But it does go to collection.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's it, so
Because she
both
even
ways
said it
is
does.
confusing.
So right there's a lie.
So
That's
off
the
is,
problem, is it doesn't.
And I brought that up to
It
Bob.
doesn't, and it never has, which I feel is where a
For
lot
anybody.
of the shortage is.
But when that started, Karen,
Right.
when they started that whole deal with that subscription money, and we even brought it up at budget committee, because I've been on there forever, and that was the question, what does that cover? That covers your ride. If you have a business, Ben,
Yep.
and you pay $50 a year and somebody gets rid of your place, they get a free ride to the hospital. But now that ain't even the story, now you're just giving them a $50 donation, so they can do whatever they want with it.
But that's all.
That's exactly right.
So really, that accountant,
Because if you're,
he didn't answer one question that, I don't know how much the town paid him that couple times he come to the budget meeting, he didn't answer one question for us, cause he didn't even have an answer.
Is there any more questions that you might have?
And then the other night he kept saying, I'm sorry.
I don't have a question, I have I had a lady come up to me Thursday after the meeting with concerns. She lives with her 94-year-old mother, and she's got concerns about rescue being
Why
there.
is she coming to you and not
Because
the board?
you guys were,
Oh, and the executive
somebody
session.
said to go talk to me, so she's very, just really nerved up.
Is this the one that
Can you-
I
lived
can
on
give you,
Swamp Road?
It's not Long Swamp, I figured out what road it was. I will write her name down for you, and
Or send us an email on it.
I'll send you an email. Okay.
Okay.
But I'll make this
She's new
comment.
to town, that was her concern, she's new to town.
If you
She
could
is-
just detail it in an email, that would be great.
Yeah.
I will make this comment. You just made it just a few minutes ago. That treasurer is one sharp cookie. She is great. And I called her Friday and thanked her for all the work that she's done.
Yeah, she's
And
been
I
great.
met with her this morning. I had a couple questions.
Mhm.
I mean, in regard to this, in the papers Thursday.
Yeah.
And she did a great job.
It's a good choice,
So.
good hire.
You feel like you
One
did
of the best
something
hires
right?
the town's done.
I think
I feel like I do a lot
I
of
think
things.
that's
I'm
pretty
just
well
kidding, I'm
rolled.
kidding you,
You do a
Cameron,
lot right.
I'm kidding you, I know
Well,
how you
and
feel.
even back about the receivables, and this came up Thursday night, I totally saw receivables when Cindy was here. I saw them with my own eyes. It's another unanswered question. Why did they stop with a change of treasurer? How would Comstar even know that we changed treasurer? The email address didn't change, so why would those reports stop coming? There's unanswered questions on why those stopped coming here. So Wendy didn't see him, Jeanette didn't see him. Jeanette was, smart enough to ask, hey, where are the receivables?
There are no receivables in files, though. Are you sure it was receivable or revenue?
No, I know it was receivables because it had all of the patient names on it. And, the call and whatnot, what was paid, what wasn't paid. But again, that was 2011, and I didn't know that they weren't coming until Jeanette told us.
Now, I know we have no set rules and regulations in place, and you guys are doing a great job getting all this stuff up. But there's things that are happening. You can't tell me that you can't go and ring things in. It doesn't matter if it's rescue, fire, transfer station, right? If someone does something wrong, you tell me you can't stop it or look into it and say, you're doing something wrong, cut it out. Just because there's no actual rules or regulations in
Are you
place.
thinking we're not looking into all
No,
of
I'm
the
not
things
saying
we
that.
have
No,
wrong?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, you've said it a couple times tonight, there's a lot of stuff that's happened with this town over the years, and you people are working very hard to get it, and that's great. We commend you for that. But I've heard you say, if there's no set rules and regulations, we really can't do anything. And that's what I got out of
I'm
this.
not gonna talk about anything personnel with
Yeah.
anybody here, except for Ben.
We respect that.
Well, if you were
Exactly.
the employee, you
Absolutely,
would,
No, yeah.
absolutely. I
There
agree
is
with,
due
I agree with that.
process and
As
all
much
that.
as much as we'd like to know, we do feel
Is there any other questions?
that that's right.
I actually just have a few complaints to drop off for you
Okay.
that you guys can review.
Okay, are all three of these you?
They're all
Okay.
different. Some of them I didn't put my name and address on due to I didn't want vandalism.
Just because I couldn't read your
in my
signature,
house.
so I'm just gonna just put this down
It's
here.
how dirty it can get, so
Leave the light on.
yeah. I sleep with my eyes open.
All right, we will
The watchdog's
look
available.
into these.
I have a big dog.
Now this form looks different than ours. Is this a rescue form? Or?
No, it's the one off your wall.
Oh, okay.
One Ben gave me this morning, and the
Okay,
other
they
two I
just look
came
a little
with.
different.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
All right, we will take this up. Anything else from anybody? All right, well, we will be meeting tomorrow night at 6:30 for the public. This is all still for the public. We just have to do the bills and the payroll and the stuff you're probably not interested in. Maybe you